Hello class. So today we're going to be working on page 17, worksheet numbers 10 through 15. Now if we take a look here at the sheet, the first three questions, the instructions say the variable expressions represent the angle measures of a triangle, meaning that each one of these is the measure of an angle of a triangle. They want us to find the measure of each angle. So they want us to find the value of x in A, so on and so forth. And then they want us to classify the triangle by its angles. They want us to be able to look at the angles that they have, the size of the angles, and tell them what kind of triangle it is. So we know that these are all triangles. Well, if we look at number 10, I have x, 2x, and 3x. So I know that if I add x, 2x, and 3x, they should all equal to 180 degrees. So once I put like terms together, that gives me 6x. I'm solving for x now, so all I do is divide by 6, and I know that x is equal to 30. Now that I know that x is 30, I can find the measure of each one of these angles. I know that angle A is just 30. I know that measure angle B is 2 times 30, which is 60. And the measure of angle C is 3 times 30, which is 90. I still haven't answered all of the questions because they want me to classify the triangle. Well, right away, you should know that this triangle is a right triangle because this angle right here is 90 degrees. And a right triangle is an angle that has a 90-degree angle in it. For question number 10, I have these three angles here. And again, I should know that if I add them all together, it comes out to 180 degrees. So here is number 11. I've taken all of the angles in number 11, this A, B, and C. There's A, there's B, there's C. And when I add them all together, it should equal to 180 degrees. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put like terms together. So I'm going to take all these x's and put them together. That's going to give me positive 6x. Then I have these numbers left over, and I'm going to put those numbers together, and they should everything equal to 180. I'm going to grouping them here so you can see how I'm grouping them. It's going to give me 6x plus 18 is equal to 180. And after here, it just becomes a very basic algebraic multi-step equation, which you're probably very familiar with. So subtract 18 from both sides. 6x is equal to 162. Divide both sides by 6. X is equal to 27. Now that I know that x is 27, I can go back and I can find the measure of each one of these angles in the triangle to classify it. The measure of angle A, I just plug in a 27 in there. 3 times 27 minus 17 is 64. Measure of angle B is 27 plus 40, which is 67. And the measure of angle C is twice 27 minus 5, which gives me 49. And if I notice here, all of my angles are less than 90 degrees. So this triangle is an acute triangle because all of the angles are less than 90. Looking at number 12, again, I have these three angles here. They want me to find x, and they want me to classify the triangle by the kind of angles that it is. So let's do that. Again, I take all my angles, add them together, they should equal to 180. I'm going to put like terms together first. It's going to give me these like terms together is 4x minus 20 is equal to 180. After that, it's a very basic algebraic equation. We're going to add 20 to both sides. The 4x comes down, gives us 200. We divide by 4. x is equal to 50. Now that we know x is equal to 50, I can find the measure of the three angles. So the measure of angle A is 2 times 50, which is 100. B is just x, so it's just 50. And C is x minus 20, which is 50 minus 20, which is 30. So I know that angle A is 100, B is 50, C is 30. And now I can classify my triangle. And my triangle is going to be an obtuse triangle because I have one angle which is more than 90 degrees, this angle right here. When you have an angle that's more than 90 degrees, your triangle is an obtuse triangle. Remember, when you don't have any angles that are more than 90 degrees, it's acute. And when you have one angle that's 90 degrees, it's a right triangle. Now that we've answered the first three parts of this assignment, let's look at questions 13 through 15. In 13 through 15, they want us to find the measure of the exterior angle shown. Make sure that after you find x, you find the measure of the exterior angle. That means they want to know what this angle here is. They want to know what the measure of this angle is. They want to know what the measure of this angle is. If you just solve for x, you haven't answered the question. The question is not asking you for x. The question is asking you to find the measure of the exterior angle. Finding x is a part of that, but finding x is not the answer to the question. So here's number 13. I have a triangle. I have an external angle here. I have these two remote angles. If you remember, excuse me one moment. If you remember from the notes, from the lecture in class, we said that this is the external angle. We said that x and 80 are the remote angles. They're remote because they're not adjacent to my external angle. These two angles here are a linear pair, so these two angles are adjacent, but these two angles are my remote angles because they're not adjacent to my external angle here. And if you remember, we said that the external angle is equal to the sum of the two remote angles. So this external angle is equal to these two angles being added together. At this point, I hope you recognize that it's a multi-step algebraic equation where we're going to subtract x from both sides. We're going to have 2x minus 22 is equal to 80 because 3x minus 1x is 2x. We're going to add 22. That's going to give us this. We're going to divide both sides by 2. And then x is equal to 51 degrees. But now that we've found x, have we answered the question yet? The answer is no, because the question was asking you for the measure of the external angle. Well, the external angle is 3x minus 22. I plug in the x, which is 51. I multiply, subtract, and the external angle is 131 degrees. Let's take a look at number 14. Again, number 14, I have my external angle here. These are my two remote angles. I'm just going to write that here so you can see that. That's my external angle. Those are my remote angles. I know that the external angle is equal to the sum of the two remote angles. The first thing I do is I combine like terms because 3 plus 51 is 54. I can do that. And after that, well, I know I have two variables, so I'm just going to get rid of one of them. I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. Could you have subtracted 4? Sure. But I think it's easier subtracting the 2x from both sides. The 2x cancels out. The 54 comes down. 4x minus 2x is 2x. Subtract 8 from both sides. 2x is equal to 46. Divide both sides by 2, and we can see that x is going to be equal to 23. Now, have we answered the question? No, we have not, because the question is asking you to solve the value of the external angle. Well, the equation of my external angle is 4x plus 8. I'm going to substitute the x for 23 with 23. I'm going to multiply, and 92 plus 8 is 100. So the measure of this external angle here is going to be 100 degrees. Let's take a look at the last question. Where again, I have an external angle. My external angle is 6x minus 7. My two remote angles are 103 minus x and 2x. Those are the remote angles. I know that the external angle is equal to the sum of my two remote angles. So this is one remote angle here plus the other remote angle there. I'm going to combine like terms. Negative 1x and positive 2x gives me positive 1x. And after here, it just becomes basic algebra. So you take 1x from both sides. I get 5x minus 7. Add 7 to both sides. 5x is equal to 110. Divide both sides by 5. X is equal to 22. And now to solve for the external angle, there's the expression of my external angle. I plug in x, I multiply, I subtract 132 minus 7, and I know that my external angle